My question to you will be, what do you hope for? How do you want the future to be? And let's start with the first chapter. The future is important, and we can talk about why and speculate, but there's one thing that just strikes me times again. Future is important because you and I and your customers and everybody else will sort of spend the rest of our lives in the future. So I thought we could sort of make a future we like, or at least strive for that, yeah? And to do that, we need to understand how it works. Let's see, we should have some little bit of audio here coming out. Do we? Okay, who knows this band? You remember Beatles? You maybe remember this. Yes? No? No, you shouldn't recognize the band. It's not a band. It's an artificial intelligence making music. So they just scanned everything Beatles ever done and they tried to mimic them. And this band, or thing, has 1,700,000 followers on YouTube. Yeah, that's more than I ever had playing in bands. Yeah, I'm not bitter. It's just the truth, just an eye-opener. We should think differently and ask very, very deep and profound questions to understand that future. One question that I think you should wake up with every morning is this one. Very important, deep, profound question. And the question is obviously, what is the future? That's the question. Every morning. And what can you do about it, right? Because as soon as you start imagining that future, you can shape it. And I'm not a psychologist, but I think this is how the brain works. You first need to have a picture, an imagination of that future before you can shape it. So what do you have in mind? What have you imagined? What does your business organization say about you daydreaming on the job and imagining stuff? Because they should be happy if you do. Okay? Now, that's one way to see the future. It's imaginable. It's also very exponential, growing. It's fast every time we look, and it's converging in very unexpected ways. Let me show you my favorite. It's a couple of years old, but I still love it. Who plays with Barbie? Yeah. Come on, we're only amongst friends here. It's good for you. So this is what Barbie, and we will need the sound again here. This is what Barbie can do for us.
I want to be a scientist.
Eureka! A scientist. I think science is so amazing. Why do you want to be a scientist?
I always really liked chemistry and physics in school.
The study of physics is incredible. Take gravity. You can't see it, but the second you trip, it's right there to pull you down. Did you ever fall or trip on something?
Yeah, unfortunately, all the time.
It happens to me all the time. That's gravity pulling you down, sometimes with an ouch.
Sometimes with an ouch. Barbie speaks science at last. This is important. But what's coming together here is stuff you already know. And this is why you are also a futurist, understanding what Mattel, one of our customers, understood. Bring in a little bit of Wi-Fi, cloud computing, natural language processing, computational power that you had on your desktop just 10 years ago, doing serious work. You can buy that for $100 out of Amazon, and you can talk science to Barbie. So something is going on. I know it's a banal, a little bit funny example, but it's profound if you see the ecosystem of it. Because imagine this. Imagine if the kid is hungry, playing with Barbie, and Barbie can sense that. I mean, maybe directly, the kid says, I want a hamburger. Barbie's connected to Google, there's Amazon, drones, delivering burgers to the GPS location of Barbie. Barbie knows your credit card, so you pay, and the drone arrives. So Barbie's in business. Nutrition, Olympic fitness consultant, whatever you want. Yeah? This touches all of a sudden a very large sphere of possible futures. Okay? Now what if the hamburger is stolen by some Trumpian kid? Okay? And Barbie can record that with her eyes, because sensors are cheap nowadays. No? What does Barbie do? Who does she call? SAP? Mattel? The parents? The police? Hi, is this the police? It's Barbie. I just solved a crime that you couldn't solve. Yeah? Possible futures. It's important to imagine them because only then can we have a decent, passionate discussion about them. Let me show you a couple of futures that happen. These guys go into space. We know that. They love it. One of our customers is building a space vehicle. They're 3D printing this. Part-time scientists from Berlin, together with Google and Audi, your next founding partner, drives on the moon. Joel I met, it's almost 3 years ago now. He quit NASA. I don't know, how do you say that to your mom? Mom, I quit NASA. I'm gonna build things to capture asteroids in space. Yeah. And I will squeeze out rocket fuel of them with lasers. And I will build gas stations for rockets in space. So I quit my job. That's what he did. And the reason is very simple. He understands that we are in an era of industrialization of space. I don't know if you ever said that to yourself. We are industrializing the space, but we should. Many of you have, many of you haven't. Will you play a role there? I mean, SAP is not going to space, but we know that our customers are already building stuff to move up. Another example of futures that are possible, it takes a very long time to make a doctor. However you try, she will never be able to know every condition ever occurred in Homo sapiens history compared to every research coming out in every second compared back to your condition in that second to give you guidance. She can't, but an AI can't, right? And funny enough, AI and humans together give better diagnostics than separate. So there is a symbiosis going on there that I think is very important. And put some sensors on that, and sensors are very cheap, very accurate. You can sense glucose levels, alcohol levels, and whatever you want. Even heart failures and cancer through sensors that are almost printable on your skin, you will wear them. That means a lot for experimentation, for freedom and liberation of these tools, liberation of information back to you. I mean, these guys, for example, they won the startup competition on IFA exhibition in Berlin. I was one of the judges, and they caught my attention. So they had a very, you know, it sounds like a very shady business. They call it human organs as a service. I was thinking, is that mafia? Yeah? Is this legal? They said, yeah, we 3D print human organs. And I'm holding a piece of a liver. They told me it's liver in my hand. I don't know. It's probably just random human tissue that they print. What does that mean for experimentation, learning? The amount of data we can collect instead of doing it today, because human tissue is hard to get hold of. Very cool stuff. And Under Armour, for example, understand that you thought that they make t-shirts. They do that as well, but these will be probably for free because the business model will be the data that they can harvest and collect and give it back to you, and they are in the data business. They connect already 200-300 million people on that platform. And the last thing that I really like is, you know, the lady there, she's typing 8 words per minute with her brain. The dude over there, he's riding a Formula 1 car also with his brain. We know that because they're parallax. So they control machines with their minds, you know, like Obi-Wan Kenobi, you know, this is not the presidential position you're looking for. So something is going on that is exciting. We need to fuse that, these technologies together in the future we can imagine. And I love nanotechnology, and this is not tiny, it's like a grain of rice, that little sensor. I don't remember what it does. I think it measures the temperature or something, so you can swallow it. In 10 years, that will be as a grain of salt, or maybe even like smoke, yeah? So maybe it doesn't just get information from your body, like the temperature, maybe it can implant it there. And I talked to some Oxford researchers. They said, yeah, because they wanted to talk to SAP. So we have brain data. Do you want it, SAP? I said, no, don't tell anyone that we had this discussion because it's kind of ethics and all that. Yeah, because I want you to crunch that data because I want to understand how to put that data back into the brain with new data, like a language. I said, that's a great idea. So nanotechnology, putting data in your brain. So wait a second. So I don't know if you know Serge Gainsbourg, what was his name, yeah? big playboy during the 70s, big smoker as well. I was thinking, can we be like Serge, you know, pick up a cigarette, and with nano probes there that implement data in my brain so I can smoke the language of French maybe? I can smoke a little bit of German poetry. That would be nice, yeah, just for a party or so. So these are the tricks, these are the futures. They can be fun, they can be banal, they can be very profound and game-changing. And this is, I don't know, 30 years and 15 seconds, things we could imagine. Because only then we can shape. And whatever we put there, this is some stuff we research, and we think that could happen, what should happen. But in this chapter, I just want to say one thing, that the future is so close, because never in the human history has the present been so temporary. So we need to rethink, how we learn, how we look into the future. And I love this image because, you know, what would you tell these young women what they should know 30, 10, 5 years from now? By the way, who am I, this bearded guy telling me, yeah, so I thought I would teach you this. Bullshit. This is maybe first time we can be really comfortable with the idea that we don't know what to learn and what to unlearn. We need to discover that each time and keep the curiosity going. And by the way, not knowing is great. This is where the scientific method comes from. You know, it's kind of like two ways of not knowing. One is, I don't know, can we have a beer? That's one way to lead your life. The second is, I don't know, how exciting. Can we find out? And I think this is the way of life we enter it. And with that comes a little bit new attitudes that are maybe not known for the corporate and enterprise and the grown-up patriarchal world that we live in. The attitudes that we, at least I know from a very different space. I played punk rock when I was younger, and we always talked about disruption. You know, oh look, there's a grown-up, there's a challenger, all the atmosphere of punk rock, of disruption, of challenging, transformation, actually not knowing what you're doing, actually not knowing how to play, really. It sounded shit, it was amazing. And people say, oh, it sounds shit, I love it, so I can play too. Yeah, that's the whole principle. Do you know someone that has a guitar? You're a punk rocker. You're a guitar player. And I think if we take these attitudes that you know I learned back then, we can now put them in corporate. We need more rock and roll in business. We need to think with the unknown, with the uncertain. They're not perfect, they're very human, they're intimately transparent. There are new values and skill sets, you know, empathy, creativity. This is Vice, lovely article there. Harvard says that the future of human work is imagination. Where's your imagination team in your big corporate? Creativity and strategy, so long-term thinking. And I love this, a little bit old now, World Economic Forum prediction of the top 10 skills we need on the market. Right? Complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, cognitive flexibility. Someone called it the AQ, the adaptability quotient. How adaptable are you to change? And how emotionally can you understand what's happening out there? And how can you invent, in the long term, your relevance for an ecosystem you live in? Because today we live in this, you know, I need to make money, money is good, and that's our goal, so I will put you in hierarchies so I can control you, and then we will plan, and we will follow these plans. And we keep them to ourselves, because that's the only way we will survive. You know, is that competitive? Is that viable even? Is that even human? I think we're moving to this way of thinking. Because if you do know yourself, you know your purpose, why you're relevant, and you do have a pretty clever business model that is relevant for an ecosystem, there's no way you will not make money. You should just be honest and network your ideas to empower people to help you. So you can experiment transparently and find new ideas. And tell each other, we don't know. How exciting. I think that's an important system. Okay. It was 15 minutes about the future and the changes we have observed. I hope it makes sense to you. It makes sense to us. And this is how we try to apply it. This is sort of the second chapter of 3. There's only 3, by the way. It's good for you. We think in 3 horizons here. You've seen it at McKinsey, and this is our sort of translation. The first one, it's maybe 3 years long, maybe 3 quarters, depending on your business, right? It's keeping the promise to the market. You promise something, you put a price on it, you deliver it. And you incrementally sort of innovate on it, continuous bettering. And that's a good kind of bootstrap to get you as an innovator and futurist out there. But there's a second horizon. Look at the timeline, it just changed. You don't have 3 years anymore. There is a second horizon, it's adjustment. You need to forecast into, okay, if we know this, and you know this, and we can network, you're my partner, you're my customer, or whatever, what could we, with trust in each other and our forecast and our skills that we have today, what could we invent in this adjacent horizon of innovation? But wait, there is a third horizon, and look at the timeline. Barbie and Einstein are turning in their grave, we're changing time. There is a third horizon that is very different. Because if you could then say, okay, then we can forecast to the third horizon. How many horizons are there? Here's the break. The third horizon, if you can forecast to that horizon, it's not the third horizon. This is the horizon where you don't know the technology and you don't know the market viability or whatever parameter. You don't. Again, we just don't know. It's emergent. So you have to imagine. You have to have the hope, the vision, and the thought leadership. You have to articulate that horizon for what it should be, the utopia of that, and then go back to something we call the dootopia. So you need to do shit to make that happen. Design, develop, discuss, imagine, and do stuff so utopia can happen. So that's the 3 horizons of change that we see. And now you can backcast your ideas into this trust horizon. You can forecast your resources to this trust horizon to invent that together. You need to act on all 3 horizons at the same time. I will come back to that. And we use that in this kind of a sequence. You all know the operations. You're really good at it, so you get your bonus. You execute, you're very efficient, scalable efficiency. This is what we after. Yeah? We validate, incubate, then scale. And you know this, there's a funny joke about it. If you actually don't know what to say in a meeting, you sit in that meeting and say, oh, shit, I have nothing clever to say. We can always say, how can we scale this? Basically anything. Try, it works. It really works. That's really good. This brought us here. Henry Ford, the division of labor and all that brought us here. Now, this is to do things right. And we love it because it's a bias. We're good at it. So we do it and we get the dopamine going. And the thing is, it's a problem with that system. I've always been asked to make a strategy for user experience, for this and that. I say, what comes before strategy? What do strategies come from? And I think they come from this kind of thinking. You observe objectively what's happening out there. You see the Barbie, the space travel, whatever. Blockchain, globalization, reaction and actions out there. Put them on a map. That's your future fabric. You connect the dots and you have future narratives. You have possible futures and you maybe have desirable futures. You choose the ones that you think should be desirable and how they act and react to each other. What will be the opposite for this and this? And then you choose the ones that you will play a significant positive role for. The dootopia. So now you're sticking your head out to become more subjective. And that's the thing. Before you do things right, you actually need to know what the right things are. Nokia did it. Blockbusters did it, or Kodak, or BlackBerry, we can go on forever. They did everything right. This is the innovator's dilemma, Clayton Christensen, right? In a nutshell. And first then you can have a strategy and game plan, and then you can do the grown-up office game and play Dilbert. And do it really, really well. By the way, make money and all that. It's great. And let's be philosophical about it. It's good. Germans are good at it, I live there. So Schopenhauer, he said this, and I still love it. He said, talent is the target no one can hit. This is a little bit like winning. I hit the target, we all try, and I hit it first, I win. On a market, for example. But he said also that genius is to hit the target no one can see. And I find this beautiful, because it makes me accountable for make you see what I would like to see in that world. Back to hope, imagination. So, what do we see for the future of work? And we're asking this question, so what is human and what is work in the superhuman world? Because this question gives us thousands of new questions, and this is the last chapter. We think that there will be a symbiosis. That's our sort of vision, innovation vision, if you wish, between human ingenuity and machine intelligence. A beautiful symbiosis. This is what we dream of when we are in utopia. And it will have 4 dimensions, 4 sort of A's when the human ingenuity goes one side, and machine intelligence the other. The first one, that things will self-organize, they will be automated. Then they will, be self-running. They will self-organize, so they will be autonomous. They will be augmented, so the third A, so you will be superhuman. And you will look for new markets and new relations, because there will be an abundance of stuff. It's an economy of abundance, so you will complete each other rather than compete with each other. We think this is sort of a new work intelligence, new human collaboration to achieve something, intelligence, smartness, something like that. The first one, the first A, the automation, is a little bit like driving a car. I mean, beautiful cars, this from Daimler, one of the customers, the Futurist listing loudness, we had a discussion, said, forget the car smarter, look at the people, look what they do. What are the functions that are automated, and what do they do instead of running these functions? What is the higher value work that we see there? Because you know, the high value work, it's the part of your day that you love. Yeah, that was good, that felt good, I felt smart. And the shit job you do, you know it exactly, because you have the feeling, oh, this is shit. This is answering the emails you should never have gotten, and so on. We need to automate that. Controlling, management, all these things can be machine tasks. And we've been doing this since the 50s, I guess, or earlier even. And we're somewhere in the digital era where we actually starting to have decent amount of time to look at non-routine problem solving. That's just a start into an intelligent revolutionary explosion of smartness, if you wish, so we can focus on higher level cognitive tasks and leave the rest to their machines. And in the end, exploration and interactions, we can find new ways of thinking. It's not that, you know, what is productivity? It's not making what we're doing today faster and more efficient. It's doing new things. That's productivity. And I think that will sort of liberate us from this manual and cognitive load and give us the passions and the deep interest of our heart to pursue in the future. This is where we get it. Now, second A, the second dimension is autonomy, self-organizing business ecosystems. It's a little bit about power, I think. There's a book where someone described power like currency. The more you have, the more powerful you are. Could be money, could be potatoes, could be, I don't know, Barbie dolls. I have many, so my business model is, you don't have any, so I sell to you. Give me your money. And that works. Now, we think that's shifting from this currency thinking to a little bit like a current thinking. You always play in an ecosystem, and the more relevant you can be for that ecosystem, in the distribution of whatever is there and back to you, the more powerful that ecosystem is, and you can benefit from that. And we thought about technologies there. I mean, the first A, the automation, will be obviously different kinds of machine intelligence and analytics and harvesting the data. Here, maybe blockchain could be one of the powerful means to move forward. And we made a little bit of a conceptual demo. Let me show that to you.
Launch an international disaster relief mission just after an island has been struck by an earthquake. The United States, France, and the Red Cross set up camps all over the island. Each of them brings specific resources and know-how. The Red Cross helps with drinking water. France brings medical support, and the United States provides helicopters. The blockchain acts as a single source of truth and provides transparency over asset needs. Let's assume the French camp has several doctors that need to fly to the other side of the island. They enter a request in the app, which is then broadcasted to all mission participants via blockchain. All other participants can instantly see the request and react with a specific offer. Here, the United States can provide 3 helicopters to be on site in 30 minutes. All parties have agreed on a smart contract, a simple, open algorithm embedded in the blockchain, ensuring.
Let's not deep dive that, but what I find interesting here in this concept. This is doable today. You just need to scale it. How does it scale? Which is obviously a problem for that technology, but I hope we can solve it somehow. What's interesting is, again, the human value. I'm pretty sure that Red Cross, or whoever is participating in such a mission, is not there for the bureaucracy, the politics, the beautiful administration, and management and controlling, and all these things that can be automated. They are there to save humans' lives. This is their purpose. This is why they started to do stuff. Now they are maybe liberating people. And that's important. Okay, third A, the third dimension. The superhuman. The augmented me. I kind of like this. I think we are, I don't think we are only human. We are Homo sapiens, we are animals, we have our biases, and we do stuff that is really crazy sometimes. We can be better, more optimal, and still be human, maybe more human than ever. And this is another demo I would like to show you to visualize how systems, data, and knowledge can come together to make you maybe a little bit better. So I brought this guy with me. Hello, co-pilot. What is up this morning?
Good morning, Martin. You will have a fairly busy morning, but there is time for a good cup of coffee. Your biometrics show me that it would be good for you. In just one cup, remember.
Okay, two things happen here. He knows me, which I appreciate. He's nice. And he just told me in the nicest way possible that I'm useless in the mornings. You will have a fairly busy morning. It means, get your shit together because you don't do mornings well. It's very good. I like that. It nudges me to act maybe differently. It also tells me to take one cup of coffee because it knows my biometrics and he knows how I binge coffee in the morning because I think it makes me better. It doesn't. After 2 cups, your brain just basically shuts down and you're like that. This is good. Okay, co-pilot. Me and Leia, we discussed a couple of things. How can teams sort of feel better and perform better, especially when they come together? It's just a loose thought. Any suggestions on that?
When colleagues travel so they can spend time face to face.